Welcome to A Slob Comes Clean, the podcast. I'm Dana White. I blog as Noni, which is short for anonymous, over at aslobcomesclean.com. That's where I share my personal deslobification process. As I figure out how to keep my own home under control, I share the truth about cleaning and organizing strategies that actually work in real life for real people who don't necessarily love cleaning and organizing. Thanks for joining me today. This is podcast number 72, and it's a continuation from last week's podcast on budgets and money. I'm going to be talking specifically about automating grocery shopping or something like that. I don't know what I'm going to call it. But anyway, basically, I wrote 2 posts last week, or wrote them a while back and then finally got them put up, about using Amazon Prime, how I use that to keep my sanity, which is, I'm like a really big fan of sanity, but it's so elusive sometimes. Anyway, but I love using Amazon Prime to just kind of help things make it easier, like the scatterbrained mama. You know, I tend to really struggle with being scatterbrained. And anyway, so anyway, I was going to do a podcast on that, and then I realized last week, as I was about to do, I thought, you know what? I think instead of that, I'm going to talk about budgets and money. And then I talked for like 36 minutes on that. And so I'm talking this week about the Amazon thing, but I'm also going to share just kind of how I manage my grocery shopping. And again, I am so not the queen of all grocery shopping, but we have a lower budget than a lot of people do. Our budget for our family of 5, and you can be horrified that this is too little or too much, but is $500 a month. And we generally are able to keep to that. Sometimes we go over, of course. Sometimes there's a little bit left in the end, but rarely, because if I realize I've got money, I'm like, woo, and I spend it. So, anyway, this is how we stay on a budget, which I know is a huge struggle for a lot of people who are just getting started. So I'm going to just kind of talk how I do my grocery shopping, how that works. And before I do that, I want to make sure that I tell you, I'm going to mention something at the end that's just for my most loyal people. Anyway, just something new that I'm doing that I want to make sure you know about. So make sure you listen to the end if you consider yourself one of my most loyal people. If not, whatever. Anyway, okay, so I have struggled always to keep grocery shopping from dropping off of my mental to-do list. The thing is, it never drops off of my actual to-do list because it has to be done. I have a family. They have to eat. I'm determined to not eat out constantly because you want to blow through your budget, just do that. But we eat at home. So grocery shopping is essential. We have to do it. We have no choice. And yet for some reason, it doesn't get prioritized in my to-do list. I have a friend who I call Normal Friend on the blog. And anyway, back in the beginning, she was reading, my blog, and she was cheering me on and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that she pointed out was, she said, I think it was when I wrote a post about my weekly cleaning tasks. As I started this process of getting my house under control, I started with daily habits. They made all the difference. If you need to know where to start, you start with daily habits, like in my ebook, 28 Days to Hope for Your Home. But it's all about the habits. Well, once I kind of had habits down that were making a huge impact in my home, I knew I needed to come up with some sort of a routine for the big stuff, bathrooms, mopping the kitchen, dusting and vacuuming, that kind of stuff that I am so not going to do every day. But anyway, so as I wrote this post on that, and she read it, and she said, you need to accept that grocery shopping is one of those big tasks. She said, it's like it's an afterthought to you. I think the way I put it when I wrote it at the time, I was going to a Bible study on Wednesday mornings, and I would go to Bible study, and then I would do my grocery shopping. So it did have a place in my in my life, in my routine. But she was just saying the way that you worded it was kind of like, I really don't do anything on Wednesdays other than grocery shopping. And she was like, yeah, but grocery shopping is actually a really big deal because it kind of determines everything else. It's kind of the same thing as meal planning. I know orgjunkie.com, I think, orgjunkie.com. She's been around since the beginning of the internet, I think. Anyway, but she's, really great, and she's very down to earth, talking about organizational stuff. And she hosts something called Menu Plan Monday. I'm assuming she still does. I don't know. I haven't done it in a long time. But on that, she talks about how for her, menu planning is the thing that her organizational stuff revolves around. It's just amazing because it is true. If you think about that stress that you feel at 5:00 when you realize, what are we going to eat? And where, we have to be somewhere at 6, and I've waited this long to even think about, people like me know that stress. So menu planning is really, really key. And so, my friend was right. I can't not consider grocery shopping a thing. And I'm like, well, but I get it done. Well, but here's the thing. As life changes and my schedule changes, I don't find a new time for it. My family knows that in the summers, by the end of the summer, they're all like, we hate for school to start again, except that we might actually have food because we're down to the bare bones of things. Anyway, so, because it's like we're out of the routine, and so grocery shopping doesn't happen. I mean, it happens, but it's the bare minimum basics. And the crazy thing is, when I'm just getting the absolute most basic stuff, I end up busting my budget. Like, that's when I end up going over budget, is when I'm running to the store just to get what we need, as opposed to shopping in a way that helps us have plenty and stay in our budget. Anyway, okay. So here's basically how I shop. Okay. And before I say that, let me just say, back when I was still going to this Bible study, which I'm so hoping to go back to next year. But when I was going to this Bible study every Wednesday, that was like a normal routine. I did my grocery shopping on Wednesday. Every Wednesday I went grocery shopping. The thing that worked great for me during that time was a meal planning service. Even though life was kind of crazy right then, having a meal planning service, I used emeals.com. That was wonderful. I mean, it was great because it was an app on my phone. I don't think I even had the app, but I got emails from eMeals. Anyway, it's the same one that Dave Ramsey recommends. But I would go, except that I want you to use my affiliate link, not his. Okay. So I'm going to put a link in the podcast notes for this, aslobcomesclean.com/podcasts with an S. Go down to podcast number 72, and I will have that. I also have a link to eMeals. That's my affiliate link in the sidebar at aslobcomesclean.com. Sorry, I had to say that. Anyway, but doing emails, what would happen is I would get an email every week, and I think it actually came on Wednesdays, and it would have this very nicely laid out meal plan. And I never liked everything on the meal plan because we're picky like that, but I would generally choose 3 to 4 meals from it, and it has them all numbered. So it has like day 1, day 2, and of course you can make them whenever you want to, but it would have that. And then it would have a grocery list, and it was specifically for Aldi, which is where I was shopping. And so I had a grocery list for Aldi, and it would say, each item on the grocery list would have a number next to it. So if I knew that I was going to eat meals 3, 4, and 5, then I would buy the things on the grocery list that had a 3, 4, or 5 next to them, of course, unless I already had it at home. But so that was great because I was consistently going. Now I don't have a set grocery shopping day anymore. I used to try to do it on the day that I went up and helped my mother-in-law, but it didn't work. it just wore me out. I couldn't do a consistent. Now I could run by one little place, but I could not do my full on grocery shopping that day because I had already taken her grocery shopping and to whatever errands that she needed. And I couldn't do mine at the same time as hers because then she would want to pay for it. And anyway, can't do that. So, okay. So here's how I do it. Basically at the beginning of the month, meaning right after payday, I go to Costco. I am going to give you specifically where I go because I like to know specifics. I totally understand that if you're in Australia, I don't know if y'all have Costco. I'd love to know. But I know that you may not have these things accessible. I have not always had these things accessible. But I, there may be something similar. Costco is a wholesale club or whatever. So there's Sam's and I think some places have BJ's or whatever, but it's basically where you buy large amounts of things. Just a little background. I got a Costco membership after I tagged along with a friend one year at Bible study. So I had gone with her probably 4 or 5 different times and I got to where I was purchasing certain items and it was worth it to me. And that was when I decided it was worth it to me to get a membership to go and be able to go on my own. So, because you do have to have a membership to go to Costco. So I go to Costco at the beginning of the month. I do not have one nearby. So it's a big trip. It's about 45 minutes to an hour. And I go and there's just certain things that I buy. Number one, they have a coupon book every month and I buy whatever we like that's in the coupon book. There are certain things that consistently come through as a coupon item and I'll grab those whenever they do. But then there's other things that I just buy to make sure I always have on hand. Things that I buy, canned green beans, which I know there are some people who think canned vegetables are disgusting, but y'all, seriously, frozen green beans are the nastiest thing ever. Sorry if you like them, but I cannot handle frozen green beans. I don't know what it is. So we do canned green beans. I like to have those on hand so that if we don't have a fresh vegetable to roast or whatever, then we've always got vegetables that we can have with dinner. Those come like in a 12 pack, so I buy a big old honking thing of green beans. And that is, that's to have on hand so that I've always got those. I buy ranch style beans, which is like chili beans. I buy black beans and these are in packages of like 8 cans of this stuff because those are things I like to always have on hand. I buy my grated cheese there, cheddar and mozzarella. I buy string cheese for the kids' lunches because that's something they need. Usually whatever like kind of snacky thing that they have on sale that month with a coupon, that's what I get. And that's what the kids get in their lunches for that month. I buy hubby's razors there once a year because y'all, it's a huge package and he is awesome at making them last, even though he is amazingly hairy. So I buy Bisquick and syrup and Parmesan and taco seasoning and ranch seasoning. So as you see, it's like stuff that doesn't go bad. It's not like I'm buying, and that's one thing I struggle with. I know there are people who, make the most of it and buy all this fresh stuff at Costco. Sorry. I don't know. I don't quite trust myself enough. I will do it sometimes, but I usually end up letting it go bad, so I try not to. Soy sauce, freezer bags, cleaning wipes, laundry detergent, dishwasher tablets. Sometimes I'll get those there. Sometimes I'll get it on Amazon. Ground beef, I just go ahead and buy all my ground beef there. I've talked about that in another podcast. Coffee. So those are just some things I like to make sure we always have on hand because there are certain things you can't run out of, like coffee, okay? Or like dishwasher tablets, got to have those every single day. I buy a lot of our meat from Zaycon. I'll put a link to that as well. You can also search Zaycon in the little search thing on my sidebar on aslobcomesclean.com because I would love for you to use my affiliate link for that too. But even if you don't, I think it's zayconfresh.com. Anyway, it is a ton of meat. You can get 40 pounds of chicken at a time. I think I got 36 pounds of bacon. I've done that twice now. And it means that I've got things in my freezer. So I never have to think about what meat do we have unless I want to do something unusual. Okay. Something other than ground beef that I always have on hand because I get it at Costco, and chicken that I always have on hand because I get it from Zaycon 40 pounds at a time. Okay. Then I go to Aldi, which, I also don't have an Aldi in my town, but I do drive to one, and I try to run in there because they're very small stores, so I can run in super quick wherever I am. But obviously, a lot of this is stuff that I would get somewhere else if I didn't have an Aldi. But the thing I love about Aldi, if you've never been and you do have one available, is my total is always significantly less than I expected it to be. I mean, really, Aldi is like, I love it. I mean, you can fill up your cart and you're going to be shocked at how little you're paying. It's crazy. But there are certain things that whenever I go into Aldi, I have a chance, I get these things. Okay. And that's fresh vegetables and fruits, butter, pasta. I do buy, organic spaghetti in like a 6-pack or something of 1-pound packages at Costco. That was something I forgot from there. I get rice, canned tomatoes, canned vegetables, spaghetti sauce, chips, macaroni and cheese. Their shells and cheese is actually pretty good. Spices, chili seasoning, sugar, flour, chocolate chips, brownie mix, which is a rare thing, but if I'm going to get it, I grab it there because it's cheaper. Apple juice, cream cheese, canned biscuits, bread, bagels, English muffins. So, it's a lot of the stuff that you just like to have on hand. And then I just have basic recipes that if I have all those things, I pretty much have everything I need to make a whole lot of different things that I make. And you can go to aslobcomesclean.com and see my recipes there because they're all really super basic. And then my local grocery store that's right up the road, that's where I get my milk, my eggs, whatever vegetables and fruits are on sale. I usually look for it to be $1 a pound or less, which is crazy cheap. But if there's one kind of fruit that's 99 cents a pound, then that's the kind of fruit we're going to eat. That's just kind of a mental thing to get into if you want to budget. Frozen vegetables, just because it's far to... the other places where I shop are really far. So if I'm going to get frozen stuff, I usually get it there. Sometimes I'll get stuff at Costco and bring an ice chest. But, whenever frozen vegetables go on sale for $1 or less per, bag, I will just stock up on that. I always have peas and carrots on hand, frozen peas and carrots, because I use those in quite a few different things. I use them in chicken soup. I use them in chicken fried rice, just different recipes that I use. I always like to have frozen spinach because I use a lot of frozen spinach just in all kinds of different things. If they have bread on sale, I'll grab it there, or whatever they have on sale. I'll just buy the things that are on sale. Okay, so specifically Amazon Prime, which is what we're talking about. One of the main things we're talking about in this podcast. So this is something for me. Now, Amazon Prime is something you actually pay for. Like, you pay a yearly fee to be a Amazon Prime member. Now, I didn't do that for the longest time because I thought, well, that's just kind of dumb. But what it does is it gives you free shipping on a lot of stuff. Now, on Amazon, at least in the US, you can get free shipping. I think it's $35. If you have a $35 purchase of qualifying items, not everything counts, but of things that have a little Prime symbol on them, even if you're not a member of Prime, if you have $35 worth, you get free shipping. Kind of like any other website, they have some sort of free shipping threshold. Well, if you are a Prime member, then anything with that little Prime symbol, you get shipped for free, even if you just order that one item. So a couple years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago, I did an Amazon Prime free trial, and it was like a special one where I got it for like 3 months or something. And it was in the fall, so I was doing my Christmas shopping during that time, and I loved it because, at Christmas time, things come up as being a, really quick deal. So, like, let's say that I think it was my daughter really wanted the Toy Story, Barbie, and Ken. So that's what I was watching for. Well, it went on sale one day for, goodness gracious, for like half the price of what it usually was. And I think it was like $17 or something. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been years. Okay. But let's say it went on sale for $17. I was able to grab it right then and not have to worry about, okay, I need to add more. What else do I need to get to the $35 so I get free shipping? Because I had Prime, I was able to go ahead and get the free shipping on that. And that happened with a lot of different things. You know, little random things that you're looking for your kids will go on sale. You can grab it because you have Prime. So I really liked that aspect of it. But of course I canceled because that's how I am. I'm cheap. Before I actually got charged for it, I canceled. Well, then the next Christmas, they had some sort of a special deal and I signed up for Prime and it was a 1 month and I forgot to cancel. And so I got charged. And there was a little part of me that, even though I had meant to cancel, was like, okay, because I had started hearing about people ordering their household items on Prime. Now, did you notice? Well, there's some Costco things that I get that are household items, but a lot of my things that I just automatically pick up at the store, yeah, it doesn't include a lot of these things like, oh, I don't know, soap and deodorant and, you know, and I can't tell you how many times my husband would say, hey, we need shampoo. And I'd be like, okay, shampoo. And I would write it on a list and I would lose that list or whatever. Sometimes I'd even have the list with me in the store and I would come home with everything except the shampoo, which those are things that when you need shampoo, you need shampoo. I mean, you can't just like, it's not, I don't know. You can't just leave the butter out or whatever. I mean, you got to have shampoo when you need shampoo. So, you know, it was really a frustrating thing because those were just the kinds of things that I would always forget. Okay. And toilet paper, I mean, running out of toilet paper is a really, really bad thing. I mean, it just makes you feel bad about yourself. Like, oh my goodness, how did I let this happen? And then it's just, you know, it's gross. So anyway, because you got to figure out something to do. We're not going to go into details there. But coming up with, you know, those types of things are just the things that get deleted off of my mental list when I just don't think about them until I'm in the moment where I actually need it. Okay. So I'd started hearing about people ordering these kinds of household goods on Amazon. And so I thought, well, we have Prime, which I actually have heard people say that they've called immediately after they got charged and had it like taken off or something, or, you know, canceled it, or I don't know. But I didn't, because I decided, I think I want to give this a try. I'm going to see how it goes this year and see if it's worth it to us or not. So, I started ordering toilet paper on Amazon. And the beauty of that to me is that in the moment where we need toilet paper, or the moment where I grab what, oh my goodness, is the last roll of toilet paper, I can go act on it immediately. I can go to my computer, go to Amazon, order toilet paper, and then, as would happen anyway, I forget about it. Okay, so what would happen normally is I would go see that we're on our last roll of toilet paper and mentally say, I need to get toilet paper. And then I would forget. And then we would run out of that roll of toilet paper and we would have no toilet paper. But this way, I see that we only have one roll of toilet paper. And instead of just reminding myself, I can actually go right that second to Amazon, order toilet paper, and then I forget like I would anyway. But then in 2 days, it shows up at my door. Okay. Now you can obviously order toilet paper plus enough stuff to get to the free shipping. Great. But it's really nice to just be able to order. I'm having speaking issues today. Sorry. It's very nice to be able to just order toilet paper. So some other things that I started ordering trash bags. I started ordering, I will get our dish tablets, because that is something that you have to have. You have to have dish tablets so that you can run your dishwasher every single night. Paper towels. Paper towels have been a real source of marital strife for us over the years because my husband likes to have paper towels. I'm actually okay without them because I'm fine using all of our kitchen rags, and then washing those. I mean, I kind of prefer to do that, but he loves to have paper towels. So by having them come from Amazon Prime, then it just means that we actually have them, and that makes him feel loved, and that's important. I started also realizing I could do, they have add-on items. So one thing that, I started ordering makeup because I tend to forget to pick up makeup when I need it. And it also tends to be a little cheaper on Amazon. But, I can do that. And sometimes that is not something that qualifies for free shipping unless it gets added on to a Prime order that adds up to $25. So I will, put on some add-on items. One of the nice things about add-on items, like for example, some eyeliner, I think it was only like $4 or something like that. So it did not qualify to actually just get shipped on its own for free, but because it was an add-on item, I could put it in my cart, and the next time I ordered something on Prime, if it added up to that $25 to make it free as an add-on item to ship, it would go ahead and put it in there. But if I ordered something on Prime that did not make it add up to $25, then it just moves it out of the cart. So it's nice. They're very intuitive over there on Amazon, and it's a little freaky sometimes. It's very good salesmanship on their part, but if it's salesmanship that makes my life easier, I'm okay with it. Let's see. Other things. Okay. Other things, just so you know, that you can get when you have Amazon Prime is, they have Amazon Prime Video, which is kind of like Netflix, even though we've never had Netflix. We don't watch it that much, so I don't know that we haven't found just tons of things that we absolutely love, but it is nice to have. It's kind of as an additional perk. One of the things, they do have Amazon Prime Music, which my kids really like a lot, because that's certain... a lot of different music that they can stream for free, listen to for free. Sometimes some of it they can actually download as well onto their Kindles. But one of the things I really like is one from Kindle Lending Library. Okay, so they have their own. Some of the books, not all of them, are available for you to check out. Like just get it lended to you, and it will stay on your Kindle as long as you want, as long as you only have one until you get another one, but you can do one per month. So, that's something that I really like. It's not everything. Like, for example, my 28 Days to Hope for Your Home is not included in that because I sell it other places online digitally as well. It's kind of an Amazon thing that they do for people who make their digital products exclusive to Amazon. But my Disney ebook is available that way. You can use that as your monthly whatever checkout thing. For me, I've read all the Harry Potters that way because they're all included in that. All of the Hunger Game books are included in that. So it just kind of, it's just a nice little perk. Other things to know when you have an Amazon Prime membership, if you don't need it in 2 days, you can choose a no rush delivery option, and that will actually give you a credit. Sometimes they'll give you a $5.99 credit for Prime Pantry, which I've never used, but it's kind of like get a bunch of different stuff that are a bunch of different little things and pay one small shipping price. So it's not really Prime. I've never used it. But anyway, or sometimes they'll give you $1 credit toward a digital purchase like my ebooks or something like that, just for choosing not having to have it in 2 days. Okay. Let's see. Oh, good. My computer's frozen, and so I can't tell you things. Okay, so I know it sounds like I'm trying to sell you a Prime membership, but I'm actually not. I am just kind of trying to explain how I just kind of keep things automated as much as possible so that we have what we need without stress. I mean, it's a way for me to deal with my scatterbrainedness, my tendency to forget and delete things from my brain that are actually things we really, really need. One of the things I really like too on Amazon, and this is not a Prime thing, but like I bought my printer on there. And so when I need to buy ink for my printer, I go search for what I'm pretty sure is the ink, and it will actually come up and say, you have such and such printer, because it knows, because I bought it from Amazon, and this ink will work for this printer, or this ink will not work for this printer. Here, go here to get the one that will work. Y'all, that is like, if I don't have to get up and go get a little piece of paper and write down what the name of my printer is so that I can go back and search it to find the right one. Y'all, that is, I mean, I just love it. Okay. So, then there's also subscribe and save, which is not something that is, only for people who've paid for the Prime membership. There also, before I stop, there are, you can get a 1 month Amazon Prime membership. There's also something for students that's an even better, great, wonderful deal if you have a student email address. But there are links to those on my posts that I've written about Amazon. I would love it if you went over there and used my links to get to Amazon. You can see what I'm talking about, but you can also, any of the links that you click over there, if you purchase anything on Amazon in that day or whatever period it is, I get a small commission. It's like usually between 4 and 6%, sometimes 7% if it's been a good month. But that is how I pay for, all the crazy things that I do as far as blogging. Okay, so subscribe and save is something to make it even more wonderful for the scatterbrained person. So I have toilet paper scheduled through subscribe and save. Like I said, I can't talk today. Subscribe and save on Amazon to be delivered to my house every 2 months. I have a big old pack of toilet paper just automatically. It's just going to automatically come to my house. I have trash bags set to be delivered every 6 months. Okay, so that's what I know. Now, just so you know, the beauty of it, because here were my hesitations on that. I was afraid that I was going to not know how long I needed it to be between deliveries. Okay, that I was going to order something to come every 3 months and it was going to turn out I only needed it every 6 months or whatever. One of the great things you can do is once you've purchased a household item on Amazon, when you search it again, that exact same item, it's going to tell you, you purchased this on such and such date. So if you go back to search it again and you see that you purchased it on such and such date, you can do the math and say, well, I purchased it 6 months ago and now I need to order it again. Obviously, one of these lasts me 6 months. And then you can set it on subscribe and save to automatically happen every 6 months. So then there's no remembering involved. The other thing I was concerned about was, what if I put it on subscribe and save and I'm wrong? Is that what I already said? Anyway, but the other thing is they do send you an email to let you know these are your subscribe and save items that are going to be charged to you on such and such date and will be shipped to you by such and such date. You get that email in advance so that you can go in and change it. If you don't need it yet, you can go in and change it and make it an extra month before you're going to get it. You can cancel it. You can, anyway, so it really is very, very user friendly. The only thing to remember for me is I thought, okay, well, the next time I need this item, I'll just put it on subscribe and save instead of shipping it, in 2 days instead of, doing it as just a Prime purchase. Well, I didn't realize that even though you get it in 2 days as a Prime purchase, if you put it on subscribe and save, it sets it at a certain date and you're not going to get it in 2 days. Okay. So like, for example, trash bags, I needed trash bags. It was going to not, once I said I was going to do it through subscribe and save, it said I wasn't going to get it for like, I think 7 days or something like that. Well, I couldn't wait 7 days. And so I canceled that, went ahead and bought it with Prime. And then I put a reminder in my phone for 6 months later to go and set it up for subscribe and save in time for me to have it by the time I needed it. Let's see. So you'll get a monthly review before. And then other things to know are things you wouldn't believe, the things that are available through Subscribe and Save. Little applesauce cups. If you send applesauce cups with your kids, which I don't, but I just happened to run across this in their lunches, and you always like to have those on hand, you can put those on Subscribe and Save. A pack of 72 for $22.57, which is 31 cents per little cup. You can decide, is that a price that I'm willing to pay? And you can set that up on Subscribe and Save. You can set up candy on Subscribe and Save. You can set up gluten-free Bisquick, chocolate, coffee, all sorts of different things that you need all the time. You can just have them automatically delivered. Now, the thing for me is I know there were several people who said, you need to get that figured out because it really does save so much. If you get, I think it's 4 or 5 items that are all going to ship together with Subscribe and Save in the same month, then you get a bigger discount. Like by just having it on Subscribe and Save saves you 5%. 5%, whatever. But I think you save like 15% if you have like 5 items all being delivered at the same time. Yes, I think that's what it says. Anyway, if you have those many things being delivered together, you're going to save 15%, which is great. I don't do that just because I don't want to spend that big of a chunk in one month. I kind of like to space it out. So I know I'm not. See, I told you I'm not perfect. Oh, and then the last thing. This is so cool. This is something I have never used, but in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, next time I need these items, I want to order one of these. They have these things called an Amazon Dash button. Okay. It's an actual little button that you stick to the wall next to certain things. Like they show a picture of, there's one for Tide, and you just can like stick it on your washing machine. You set it up for whatever type of Tide it is that you want. When you realize you're running out, you push the button, and it's like somehow connected with your smartphone, and it orders Tide for you because you pushed a button. I mean, let's all think about that. That's like living in the Jetsons. I mean, for real. How crazy is that? They don't have it for tons of different stuff, but they do have it for Glad trash bags and Ziploc bags and things like that. Stuff that you're consistently needing. And so my whole goal is to try to do that. I think with my next time I need paper towels, I want to try that because I just think it's the coolest thing ever. Right now, the way they're doing it is you buy a button for $4.99, and then the first time you order that product with the button, then it takes $4.99 off of your thing. So that kind of makes sense, right? Okay. I think that's all I'm going to talk about on this. I know I've been just a little random. Oh my goodness, 37 minutes again. Whew. Okay. For those of you who are listening to the end, the thing I wanted to tell you about is something that I've set up. It's on patreon.com, patreon.com/A Slob Comes Clean, or I'm going to put a link at the top of the aslobcomesclean.com/podcasts page, and also in the show notes here. Anyway, I'm not going to go into too many details because it really is only for those of you who are like humongous supporters. And it's really not even for everybody, but that's just if you even wanted to read about it. But basically, it gives you the opportunity to be a patron of the show. I'm not going to do a plea or anything. I'm just going to say, I have a friend who wanted to start a podcast, and she knew that I podcasted, and she was so excited about podcasting, and she'd like researched it and everything. And anyway, and she said, hey, I downloaded your podcast the other day. And she said, so, I guess you got some money. And I was like, what? Anyway, so this is somebody who actually did know about podcasting, but she didn't know yet that, I don't make a dime for people downloading my podcasts. I mean, ultimately, it benefits the brand, A Slob Comes Clean, or whatever, but I actually don't make any money from the podcast. So if you would like to be a patron of the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/A Slob Comes Clean, or those links on the site, and just find out about this patron system that I am making available, which is super awkward to talk about. But anyway, and just so you know, I've just set it up. I am taking advice from a blogging friend who's kind of looked at it for me, and she said, you really need to make it funny. And so it's not funny, I guess. I mean, I think, well, it's just really not. So I'm going to work on making it funnier. But at this point, it is what it is. And so it's there for those of you who have listened a whole 39 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.